I wrote this story in 1998. It's called The Waiting. I think it started when I picked that one apple from the tree in our backyard. It was a pretty green apple, and when I bit into it, a sweet sourness spread into my mouth. The juice slid into my hand, and it was sticky. I felt so excited before I took that apple from its tree. I thought that afterwards I would feel fine, but my heart still raced, as it often did, and I could feel that sparkle in my stomach. I thought that the apple was for me, but my father told me not to pick the apples. I still don't know why. But after I ate that pretty apple, things started happening. When I lay in bed at night, listening to the whispering in the bushes outside my window, I envisioned that apple as rotting and ugly with invisible worms that somehow made their nest in my stomach, turning my perpetual excitement into a black hole. I always felt like something was going to happen. I didn't know what or why, if it was good or bad, but something was going to happen. I'd awake on weekend mornings, and as soon as my sleep wore off, I began to feel that anticipation before what? I lay there taking in everything held in the confines of my pink room, and then rearrange it perfectly for that day. Each book in its place for a reason I wasn't sure of. Each doll dressed with hair perfect, sitting beside one another, staring blankly into my eyes. And then I would play outside and forget about the heaviness in that room. But the night would always rise, and my eyes would search the house for what was to come. School started that same fall, and of course I was excited. My clothes were gently laid out the night before, down to the shoes, and what barrettes would I wear in my hair? Would I look okay, even though my front teeth were missing? I had ugly maroon scabs on my knees, and they seemed to clash horribly with my white ruffled socks. I was new at the school, as we had moved the previous summer. My mom was happy for me, and she talked about how fun it was going to be and the new friends I would make. I felt that sparkle grow as the day approached. I would have to ride the school bus just like the kids in the movies did. I didn't ride the bus at my old school. On the first day of school, the morning was windy and gray. My mom made my favorite lunch, a tuna sandwich with apples and chocolate milk. Click went the fresh pink plastic box as I shut away its contents. Off I went, alone. I knew the way. As I approached the stop, I saw a group of kids waiting, boys and girls I didn't know. One girl caught my attention. She was so pretty. She was wearing jeans with a fashionable velour shirt of the day. But what struck me was her hair, straight and shiny black, pulled perfectly back from her face, not one hair out of place. A red ribbon held onto it tightly, beautifully. She seemed my age. I smiled at her. She just looked away. The kids all seemed to know each other. The bus came and I stepped on reluctantly, excited but tired, clumsy. I sat down next to a girl, and the pretty girl sat behind me with a friend. They began talking about a book they were looking at. What book? I turned around to see, and the red ribbon girl told me to turn my ugly red head around. It was as if she had punched me in the throat. I turned around and tried not to cry. I clutched my lunchbox and stared at the green leather seat bouncing in front of me. The rest of the day seemed to blur. No one spoke to me, and I thought I should like my teacher. Maybe she could help me. But she acted nervous, and her face hung gray and long. I didn't want to look at her as she reported the rules and told us where to sit. I sat staring around her, avoiding her tight-lipped expression, and that apple would place itself in front of me, dull and bruised with brown. The red ribbon girl wasn't in my class, Mrs. Lupensky's class. My stomach grabbed at me, knowing she would ride the same bus as me every day. Maybe I would get sick and not be allowed to go to school. I could stay home with my mom, and she would let me stay inside and watch her Love in the afternoon shows. My cheeks flushed as I drank this. Ring! Mrs. Lupensky said something, and all the kids got up, so I did too. Time to go home. Outside, the wind took everything out of me. I walked to the buses and searched hurriedly for the blue bus. I stepped on and took an empty seat, not minding if no one wanted to sit next to me. The bus was quite empty, so I got my wish. I didn't see the red ribbon girl, and my heartbeat began to slow down. When I got home, the house was dark and quiet. My older brother Ryan wasn't home yet. My mom was sleeping. I snuck into my room and lay down on my bed and cried. Why was I so sad? I felt horrible, sick. My stomach gnawed, my legs ached with guilt. The pink was crushing in on me. I drifted off to sleep. Lauren, wake up, sweetie. My mom was standing in the doorway with her purple bathroom on. Honey, it's almost 5 o'clock. You want some dinner? Okay, I said. How was school? I don't know. How was your teacher? Did you meet anyone nice? No, I said. Stop asking me questions, I thought. But she was so nice to me. I felt guilty. She came to my bed and gave me a kiss. I sat up and looked around the room. It was still light out, but I knew it would be night soon. I heard the television. Ryan was watching the Newlywed Game on Channel 13. I hated that channel. It was strangling. Its hands crept and rolled out of the screen and squeezed at my throat. The colors were strange, and the commercials made me feel lonely and older than I really was. Channel 13's commercials were worse than Channel 5 or 9. The Exorcist came on late at night, at least once a month, just in case you missed it. I didn't even want to be in the same room as it, but I could hear it as I ran past into the kitchen. My mom made potatoes and vegetables with cheese on top, orange cheese. How was it orange? I didn't feel like asking. Where's Daddy? He's out of town for 3 days, remember? He'll be back on Thursday. My mom looked tired. I thought she was so lucky. She got to stay home all day and lay down whenever she wanted. I had to wake up and go to school. She was pretty, but her skin was pale and creased from all the sleep, and her hair was oily and lay flat upon her head. She shuffled slowly around the kitchen, putting things away. She sighed a lot and looked tired and lost, I thought. I stared at her as I ate my potato, and when she caught my eye, she smiled at me quick. Ryan, come and eat at the table with your sister. Ryan seemed not to hear. He said nothing. Ryan, now, turn off the television. He did. You could hear the rolling voices cut off so abruptly, so final.